All right, we are live. It is Wednesday, May 25th. Welcome to the Man Cave, gentlemen. Um, we are at the end of the school year. I know you guys with kids are busy trying to get your families in order, ready for summer. Summit's around the corner, and it's at the end of the month. So I'm hopefully everybody's hit Success Club, if not pushing hard to make it. We're going to do a question and answer session until Jason pops on. So does anybody have any questions, or what are you struggling with most? Anything that I can help you with? Bueller, anybody? James, Robert. Jason texted me. He said he's coming on right now. Let me mute everybody. And he should be on any moment. So who's hit Success Club already this month? Raise your hand. Anybody? Where you guys at? 3? How about you, Dave?
Working on my 2 customers who are my roommates. They're working out. I'm trying to get them on the Shakeology and a challenge pack.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I need to call you back, okay?
How you doing this month, James?
Not too bad.
Where you at Success Club points wise?
A big 0.
Going on? How many invites have you sent out this week?
Oh, I'm at the usual, like, talking to 5, 6 people, and everybody's like, yeah, we're going to do it. Yeah, for sure. You know how that works.
Now, let me ask you, are you just having conversations, or are you legit inviting?
No, I'm doing legit invites, too.
Okay. And Jason's on. All right. So let me introduce you guys. He's a 9-star Diamond Coach lifetime. He's got 4 business centers combined, 18 life-sponsored 18 lifetime diamonds. He's a 3-time elite coach. He's part of the Millionaires Club, and he's founder of the Fit Union, which we are all part of. Everybody, let's welcome Jason Diebold to the call. We're excited to have you on, buddy. Let me unmute you. And you're on, Jason.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Sorry, I'm just leaving the restaurant. Oh my God, I apologize so much for not being on time, and I'm so grateful and thankful that people are able to reschedule and hang out with us. The problem with me is I've been on the East Coast for the last 7 months, and so when I saw the email and the invite, I'm like, no problem, 9 o'clock East Coast time, that's me, no problem. And it was 5 o'clock, so we went to dinner, which is like 5, 6, 7, 8. and then an hour into dinner, I was already late for the call. But thank you so much for having me on the call, and like I said, being patient and gracious. And thanks so much for Roland having me. And it's just means a lot to me that I can be on a call with like the man cave and talk to a like group of men that have ambitions and want to accomplish things. So where do you want to start off with? You said kind of go over my history or what?
Yeah, let's tell them about your story and how you came about the business and what your practice is and how you became successful.
Yeah, for sure. Man, it's a long story. Well, everybody, I guess, on the call, like right now, think about your coach number, right? And Roland, what's your coach number?
303128.
303128. Awesome. My coach number is 2193. And all the founders were coach number 1000s. And so when they went away from founders, and there was only maybe 100 or so founders, they started with 2000s. And I'm 193 into those people. So I was within the first, 200 or 300 coaches that enrolled. So I've been doing this a long time. So when you say, how did you start? It's like, I don't even remember. But actually I do. So it actually started with, I did Power 90 a long time ago. And when my ex-wife was pregnant, I started gaining the sympathy weight along with her. And I was working a job at the time where we had to work a lot of extra hours throughout the week, and they wouldn't pay you overtime. It was a salary position, but they would let you go to any restaurant that you wanted to, like after you were done with the job. And we worked a lot out of town and stuff. So we would go to like a work all day for 10 or 12 hours, and then we'd go out to like the fanciest restaurant in town, and everybody would get to surf and turf, and we'd spend $500 at dinner. And somehow we thought that justified giving up all the time. So that was a nice little reward, but it's not a healthy way to live. So I was on one of these jobs in a hotel room, and I saw the ad for Power 90, and there was one guy flexing underneath a waterfall in Kauai, Hawaii, with Tony Horton. And something about what he said was that when he first started the program, he thought Tony was so fit, but here he was, just a year later, flexing with Tony under this waterfall, and he looked just as good as he did. And that guy's name was Doug Dragon. I didn't really know it at the time, but something about the way that he said it made me believe that I could do it too. And here I was, being fat with all the baby weight, sitting in a hotel room, probably like just gorged myself on surf and turf after a long day at work. And I saw this solution. I'm like, if he did it and he did Power 90, I can do it too. So I bought it right then. And sure enough, just like everybody else, I think it sat on the shelf for a little while. But the next time I got home and I felt lethargic again, I started doing those workouts. And after doing that, and initially in the first 45 days, I got pretty good shape. Probably lost, 10 or 20 pounds. And then I started going on the message boards. And, the message boards are still super popular right now. Nick Hussein, he always goes by the screen name Scrawny to Brawny, does a lot of good work just off using the message boards. And I think it's an underutilized tool. In fact, Beachbody just came out with this brand new app, right, which is like Beachbody Boards or something.
Yeah, I saw it.
Right, so that's something that Beachbody's spending more money on, so they want people to get more into the message board kind of reaction and working with other people. So that's something that's going to come back around. Anywho, I was working out and I went on the message boards and I got all this attention just because in this first 45 days I'd lost 10 or 20 pounds. And I'm like, dude, I better slow this down or I'm going to get divorced. Because like so many people were coming out and like flirting and being nice. And so to be honest, I had to kind of slow down. And then, I went back home after the job. Life got busy. She always wanted to watch Dancing with the Stars instead of working out and stuff like that. So I kind of gained all the way back. But the thing that was unique about me is at the time, this was the same time as Tracy Morrow and Monica Ward and Melanie Bolin, and Tony Barker. You probably don't even remember some of those names, but some of them are really, really famous. So when I stopped, I kept watching what everybody else was doing. And then all of a sudden, it's like I heard they were making money and they were doing well at it. And so that was the same time that I actually went through a divorce. My wife left for a wedding and decided not to come back. And I don't think anybody really ever cheated on anybody. But it was just like life wasn't as amazing as neither of us wanted it to be. And so she was smart enough to like raise the flag and kind of take off. And so at that point in my life, I didn't even know what I wanted to do or who I wanted to be. But I was able to identify the kind of woman that I wanted to be with, which was maybe the thing that I lacked the most. And I'm like, if this is the woman that I want to be with, successful and fit and into fashion and has got time to do things in her life, it's like, who do I need to become? And I think that's crucial for a lot of people because a lot of the times we focus on what we need to do instead of who we want to be. And that's the exact wrong way to do it. We need to focus on who we want to be or what we want to accomplish, and then the steps, the doings will become obvious. So as soon as I decided who I wanted to hang out with, I knew what I had to be, and that was somebody that was in better shape, had more income, had more disposable time, was more fun to be around, was kind of adventurous, and drove like a cool Jeep with the top off, is what I thought at the time. And out of all those things, the things that I could change right away was the fitness, because I knew Power 90 worked. I had tried P90X, I tried Slim and 6, but Power 90 was the thing for me that worked. And I think that's so important when it comes to all our clients. Like, we need to put them in a program, not that they want to do, but a program that's ready for them to get started with right off the bat. And maybe that's 22-minute hardcore right now. But, it's probably not P90X2, because that takes a different level of athleticism. Anyway, after doing that for a while, it was kind of the fake it till I make it method. And I went kind of what all my mentors were doing at the time, the Melanie Boulins and the Tracy Morrows. I aspired to be them because they had all these pictures with all the great trainers and all the great executives from the company. So because I aspired to do that, I went to all the events and I met all those people. So I was fortunate that the divorce and the getting back into the fitness, and that's who I wanted to become, coincided with the advent and the launching of the business. And I hear all the time on the message boards and on the wall and everything that people are like, it's not possible to be successful anymore. And like, you're only successful because you've got a strong leg that's built under you. And that's a ridiculous statement, because, people like Lindsay Matway has come into the business 3 or 4 years after me and has made a lot more money than I have. And there's been people that came in the business before me that haven't done as well as I have. Some of those people are even above me in the comp plan. So to do good in this business, it takes a couple different things. It takes volume, which does help if you have a strong upline, and it also takes rank. But you can't have any one superstar on your team. And I know we're all part of Team Diesel, but if you had just Becky Brissett or just Christine Delgado on one leg, and you didn't have any rank, and you didn't have any volume on the other side, it wouldn't do anything for you. So this business is really only a result about what you put into it. And I think I've been fortunate with it because I've just been passionate about health and fitness and passionate about helping other people. And the way that I really build it was by doing what the people that I emulated did, which was have pictures and go to all these great events with other people. And then through doing the same business for the last 9 years, I've kind of more gotten specific about the things that I do best. And, that's like the coaching codes, and that's the rank calculator, and that's building training websites and stuff like that. But mostly it's just because it allows and affords me to be the person that I wanted to be back 9 years ago when I said, that's the person I want to date. And it's funny now that I can't even tell that story and not think about, my fiance, because she is that woman that I wanted to date 9 years ago. And I just said, well, if I could get more income and more leisure time and better fitness, I would find that person. And lo and behold, I have. So maybe that's a long way to say that this is a huge opportunity to do whatever it is you want in life, but let's get clear on what you want to do first, and then we'll figure out the different ways to get there.
Right. Some good points there. What would would you say, because I know a lot of the men have been asking how you approach getting customers, new customers, and achieving Success Club. I mean, you hit Success Club, what was it, 6 years in a row every month, 6 years in 2 months. So what are your keys to hitting Success Club coming, you know, as a guy in the business? A lot of guys are feeling a little shy or they don't know how to approach it.
Okay, well, there's a couple different concepts there that I really like talking about. Number one is like Success Club, and is it necessary? And you know what? I think you could probably do a good business without doing Success Club every month. But why was Success Club created? So basically, they looked at all these successful coaches, and I don't want to be arrogant and say that I was one of them, but I kind of was one of them. It was like me and Monica Ward and Barbie Decker and all these people that had successful businesses, and they're like, what are they doing month after month and after month that's creating this great business for them? And it turns out it was about 2.5 new coaches a month. So Beachbody is like, what if we created some sort of incentive and prize to get people to build a successful business just by doing these small monthly tasks? And when you think about it, 2.5 coaches a month, which is now kind of turned into 2.5 challenge packs a month, is what we did to get there. And that's Success Club 5. Now, if you want to pursue a bigger, faster, better business, I think it's a requirement to do Success Club 10. And I think it'd be one thing for me to sit here and say that and not be doing it. But I do have 74 months in a row in Success Club 5. It's a non-negotiable for me. It's a measure of if I'm doing enough business every month. And then this year has all been Success Club 10. So what is the reasons and ways to achieve that? Well, number one, there's so many leaders in this business right now that are all women. And why is that? Roland, if you had to guess, why are women leading this business?
Because they lead with their hearts. They're sympathetic, empathetic, and they find other people who are just like them who need help.
Yeah, I think that's true. I always used to say the one that tells the story the most will win. And the truth is, from my perspective, is women are better communicators.
Very true.
So like men will sit there, and I mean, if you ever read Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, the two men talk to each other and it's like, hey man, my lawnmower broke today. And so they give advice on how to fix the lawnmower. Now, if a woman was to come up to you today and say that her lawnmower broke, she doesn't want advice on how to fix it. She's going to take it to a repairman because she's smart. What she wants to do is talk about the emotions around what happened when something that you relied upon dies. And so I think as hard it is for men to understand that is we just need to become better communicators. And it's not about saying, hey, you know, if you want to lose 10 pounds, join my group. It's about saying, hey, who needs help this year with their health and fitness? Or who wants to get ready for a wedding this year? Who wants to be ripped on the beach this summer? And then reaching out to them and then building and nurturing the relationship. And that's what women are patient with and can do. Honestly, when I started this business 9 years ago, I would take a picture with six-pack abs and guys would come out of the woodworks and say, like, dude, how are you doing that? Now the market is just more competitive, so we need to be more diligent about building relationships. And that's why the newest social media platform is always where the most new clients are coming from. Like if you stick on Facebook now, you're doing okay, but you're not doing as good as if you're on Instagram. And if you're on Instagram, you're not doing as good as you're on Snapchat. And that's why this new Beachbody message board will be so good, because initially there'll be very few people doing it and a lot of customers out there seeking help. So really what you do is you figure out, you know, first of all, have a tangible plan that works for you for, you know, teaching what it is that you're selling, you know. And I feel like maybe the first time in the last 9 years I really have that. You know, Beachbody has always had great fitness programs, but I really struggled with the diet. And now I've really narrowed that down to what works for me. When I do the new diet that I have, I lose a pound a day and I keep building muscle. But it's because I'm doing the right things that kind of your grandma taught you. But I made that really specific, and I've made that into a training plan. Now, what are the things that I don't do best? Well, I'm not great at social media and staying up to date on all the posts, and I'm not a real time-oriented guy that likes to be placed on time, obviously, because I almost missed the call, and I had to get everybody else to reschedule it. So I delegate the things that I'm not good at. Like I have got people that do my social media campaign for me now. But when they find the leads, then I'm very suited to come in and teach what it is that, you know, I know will work for the individual and connecting with the individual. So I think that's one of the things that I would say, if you're a guy doing this business and you're not great at Pinterest, go hire a chick for $10 an hour and give her 5 hours a week, so it's only $50 a week to do a Pinterest for you, and that'll generate women coming into your group that'll talk to other women. And I still think it goes back to the one that tells the story the most will win. I think that's why Jimmy Nelson has been successful recently, is because he does these live trainings like every day that he's available from 8 until 9 a.m. And when he does that much work, he's talking to that many people. It's kind of a numbers game. If you get 1,000 people to come to your calls per week and only 10% of the people say yes, that's 100 people.
Right.
So I think the illusion is that we can just sit back, post pictures of our Shakeology and pictures of our workout, and people are going to jump into your boat. Well, if you're out there and you're a fisherman and that's your bait, like, don't expect fish to jump in that boat. Like, we have to be more intelligent about attracting the market of people that we want to get, and then hold yourself to the high standard of Success Club 5 or 10 every month, and use that as a guide and a measurement to how you're performing. I really like it where Hillary says her goal, and she's one of the, I think she recently slipped, but she was the only person that had ever done Success Club 10 every month since its inception. So it was like almost 7 years. And what she said was, I try to be Success Club 10 by the 10th of the month. And if I'm not, then I still have 20 days to catch up. And if you look at what she does, she's just excellent at social media. And it could be about dancing, it could be about her Jeeps. You know, she just got a new tattoo that she sent me pictures of today. I guarantee that's on social media somewhere, and it's generating pictures and questions and just feedback with individuals about tattoos. I think if you try to market yourself that you're the best fitness trainer out there in the world, I mean, Roland or myself, it's just not true. I mean, if I was looking for fitness, I wouldn't go to either of us, Roland. No offense intended. But if I was talking about a guy that was renovating his house in Miami and I'm interested in renovating my house, I might follow me because that's what I'm doing right now.
Right.
You know, and if I wanted somebody that had the life experiences that Roland had, I would totally follow him. And out of those people, if that's 100 people, and you only get 10% of them to say yes to fitness because they want to be fit too, that's still 10 people a month. So I think the best thing to do is focus on what it is that you love to do. And if you spend your time focusing on what you love to do, it's not going to feel like work anyway. Like when I talk about remodeling a house, that's not work to me. That's just my fun and my pleasure. And then when people are like, hey, that's cool. Yeah, I wanted to, you know, add an extra room under the house too. I'm like, cool, these are the things I did, and these are the TV shows that I watch, and I can go onto Facebook and look at those TV shows. But I'm not marketing against everybody else that's doing Body Beast or 22-minute hardcore, and the majority of those people in those groups are already coaches.
Right. We got a question from somebody that says, when you hire someone to do your social media, how do they know what to post for you? Do you give them specific parameters or?
Sure, I think that's a great question, and that really comes down to your values, right? If your thing is Jeeps and home improvement and motorcycles, you want to be doing social media posts about those things 80% of the time, and then 20% of the time talk about it is what you're trying to sell, you know. So then talk about your fitness, or talk about like how you haven't worked out in a week but you had to run up the stairs today and you didn't get winded, where 2 years ago you would have got winded. And that comes from the workouts that you do. You know, so if you spend 80% of the time talking about your values, whatever they are for you, and then 20% of the time talking about the thing that you want to sell, you're going to attract a market from the common interests and values that you have. So if I wanted to start posting on Pinterest, honestly, and I should, I would have a girl and I would spend, you know, like I said, maybe $10 an hour and give her 4 or 5 hours a week just to post individual pictures up there, and then I would answer all the messages that came in. I'd have her post about right now home improvement, Jeeps, maybe BMWs and old motorcycles, because that's what I value and that's what I like to talk about. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense. I have another question from James, who was asking, what's the best personal development book that you would recommend right now?
I really like that question, and I get asked that question a lot, especially when it comes to personal development courses, because I feel that I've taken every personal development course available out there. And it's really great because I think it's made me a more well-rounded, happier person. And whenever anybody asks me that question, it's like, I don't know, what do you want to learn? Right? Because if you want to learn emotional intelligence, I'd say go to Sci seminars. If you want to learn motivation, go to Tony Robbins. If you want to learn home-based business and how to multiply it, Danny Johnson is a great class. Mm-hmm. If you want to learn the confidence building process, you can do that in any one of those curriculums. Just figure out a goal and do individual measurements until you achieve those goals. And in doing that, you create and build the confidence building technique. If I had to go with an individual book for this business, I like Darren Hardy has a book, I think it's called The Roller Coaster Effect or something like that. I really like that book because it talks about, what it takes to, build a successful business and not listen to all the naysayers. The Compound Effect and The Slight Edge, I think, are great books to start out with because it talks about how doing a little bit consistently over the period of a business, makes great compounding effects to get to the point where I'm at. Like, one of the things that I put in that bio is my team now has 78,000 people on it, 78,500 people, and I didn't even know that I had to look today. But if I would have started the business 9 years ago and say, I want to get to 78,000, that would have seemed insurmountable. But you know what? I'm just like, hey, it's Success Club 5. It's finding 2.5 people this month that want to do it, independent if they're coaches or not. And then next month it's 2.5 people. And if those 2.5 people start signing up 2.5 people, it becomes the insurmountable goal. And I think a book like The Compound Effect or The Slight Edge really puts that in perspective. I like the fact where Gary Vee's stuff right now talks about it's just being consistent and doing a little bit every day. And like I said with Jimmy Nelson, you see the effects of that. Just recently went to a 15-star diamond. Now he's running the men's training leadership classes where they get a lot of men to come out to focus on doing the individual things over and over and over again. So I think one of those books, if you haven't already read it, is necessary. I really like Your First Year in Network Marketing, which I think is a Jim Rohn audio, and that's one that I just have memorized. And you can't sit here and say it's the fault of the wind that my boat is not sailing. No, it's not the fault of the wind. It's how experienced you are with the wind and sailing and how you set your sails. So it's like I can't hear that stuff now and not know it because it's just memorized within me. And I think that's a CD you can get for $2 on Amazon.com. Put it in your car, save it on your iPhone, your iPad, and just listen to it over and over and over, where you can finish the sentences, and then you know that you know it. You have conscious competency about that subject matter.
That's so true. I know when we were on the cruise together, we talked a little bit, and I pass on a lot of information to the fellas about learning the compensation plan. How important do you think that is to their business?
Well, I think for me, it's the most important, most effective thing that I do. One of the quotes that I love from Tony Robbins the most is anything that you want to get better at, just measure. And I'm like, okay, if that's true, I want to apply it to my life. I've wanted to get better at coaching and building volume and better income. Have I measured that? I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I have. Every week, I measure the downline, I measure the volume, and when I got to the point where I was maxing the comp plan in terms of salary in my first CBC, it was almost exact. Like it was an exact 2-to-1 ratio where it maximized the comp plan. And that's not an error. That came through consistent and deliberate measurements. And then whenever I saw that one leg was, doing much better than the other, I focused attention on the other leg. So for me, that's been, one of the most important things in my business. because that's a very high thing on my value structures, knowing mathematics and figuring out the numbers and knowing the exact most efficient way to build without wasting any effort. And then I've met people like Barbie Decker, and I've met people like Anita Miran, who just went through a traumatic experience. I hope
Yeah.
best wishes go to her, that don't know anything about the comp plan, and they're still killing it. So I wouldn't use your inexperience with the comp plan as an excuse to not build this business. You know, I met Barb, and she was a Ruby, and I'm like, oh my God, if you put 2 more coaches on this side, you're a 1-star. She's like, oh my God, I had no idea. The success will come if you're doing the core activities right. And the more that you learn the comp plan, the more efficiently you'll do it better. But the training at this point is so awesome. I mean, if you do nothing else but go inside, you know, the Coach Online office and do the training rank by rank by rank and by achievement that you want to achieve, you're going to learn things the best way. I've always tried to apply like the shotgun approach to my business. If I hear knocking on doors is the best way to sell stuff, like I'll go try knocking on doors. And if I do good at that, I'll do more of that. If I hear sending out postcards is the best way to do business, I'm going to go send out 100 postcards and see what the return on investment is there. If I hear that running fit clubs is the best thing, I'm going to go run a fit club and see how that works for me. And all these things I know can work for any individual person, but none of these things will work for everybody. See, I really like the idea of the shotgun approach, trying all the different things, figuring out what your niche is, because you might be horrible at Pinterest, but you're awesome at Instagram or the new Snapchat. And that's the way you build. I really like that Dave Ward says that, you know, he's not out there trying to get every male fitness person in the world. No, he talks about surfing, he talks about biking, but those are the things he loves. And within that tribe of people, if he just gets a certain percentage, that's enough to be elite everywhere.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. And I got a question from Michael, who says, what is the best way to add people to your contact list using social media, business page on Facebook, Instagram, etc.? Lately, I've tried to focus more on posting things of value to attract new people, but he hasn't seen much engagement.
Well, if you want more engagement, be engaging, number one. Like, who are the people that you follow, and then why do you check in with them every day, and then emulate that, right? I think that I'm bad at that I don't have like the followers on my like page that I would want. And I fully admit that I don't make that page super entertaining. But when I do spend time on it and I do entertaining posts that aren't necessarily always about fitness, it's just what I'm doing in my life that I think is entertaining. Like last week, it's been all about working on my motorcycle because that's what I'm doing. I get the people to come out. So if we're specifically saying that about Facebook, I think initially having a regular non-like page works best because it's easier to interact with people. I would take that personal page and then go out to all these other groups that you want. If you're talking about home remodeling, go to some HGTV show like The Property Brothers and talk with them about how much you enjoy the show. And then when you meet people there, say, hey, yeah, why don't we like each other and check out, you know, my page. And then from there, now you can start the conversation about fitness and health and diet and exercise and everything else. But you're going out to those other things that you like to do to attract people in. Long term, the most successful coaches in this business, and if you have any doubt about this, create a like page and then have your like page look at the analytics of those other pages and compare yourself to the best leaders. The best leaders in this company all have like pages with over 20, 30, 40, 50,000 likes on them. And they get that because they have great content. Like maybe they're doing a different recipe every day, or they're talking about their kids or whatever else draws people into it. But when you have 50,000 people following you, and then 10% of the time you talk about the challenge group that you're going to do that month, and only 1% of the people says yes, 1% of 50,000 is what? 50 or 500 people. It's a lot of people. So I think initially using like the non-like page, the personal page is great because it's more convenient. But I think right off the bat, you should start transitioning to the like page and building that audience, even to the point where, you know, maybe you pay for some advertising to get likes, or even pay for some likes, because, you know, there's certain things that you can't do with only 20 likes on a page that once you get 100 or 1,000, you know, you have extra access to the analytics and stuff like that. So I wouldn't sit there and say, you know, pay to get 10,000 likes on your page, because then you're going to pay to get 10,000 people in India to like your page, and they're not going to be followers. But you might pay to get 1,000 likes, and then that allows you to do some of the advertising and some of the other analytics that comes with that. So, because here's my dilemma. I can't work the personal page enough, and with a team of 78,000 people, they can't even all be friends on my personal page. But if I had been working the like page for the last 9 years, I'd have at least 78,000 likes, because they would just be people on my team.
Right.
Plus everybody else that I dealt with. So I think to not do the like page, you're doing yourself a disservice, because you're going to hit 5,000 eventually. I know it may seem far off right now, but it will happen. And at that point, you need to work the like page. And again, look at all the top 10 coaches, and they've got like pages with 20, 30, 50, 100,000 people on them. And then that's a great advertising campaign that's free, because these people have already agreed to follow your stuff. But that only comes from being entertaining.
Very true. Well, Jason, we're out of time. We got less than a minute left on the Zoom call, so I wanted to thank you for your time, and we'd love to have you back in a couple months, probably maybe after Summit, and so we can get some more tips from you, and so you can give us some knowledge. But thanks a lot.
No, I really enjoy it. I'm really thankful for you having me out. I'm really thankful for you, Roland, to work with, you know, the group of men. I know Diesel in particular is very feminine oriented, and I love that about it. But it's great that there's somebody out there that's embracing the masculine side of it as